Hi again. We need to consider a few things when we are writing the reasoning, justification, or proofs. For algebraic reasoning, we always take into account the property of equality. But when it comes to geometric proof, we take property of congruency. Though we always deal with equal to sign and congruent sign at the same time for writing the proofs, but property of equality, POE and POC, they are two specific things, and POE is more concerned with more used with algebraic reasoning. One more thing is whenever you have to show a change from a equal to sign to a congruent sign, reason will always be definition of congruent. Reason definition of congruent, whether if we are talking about the segments, we will rephrase it as definition of congruent segment. And if we are talking about angle, we will rephrase it as angle. Few other things is about the properties that we use. There are three different properties that is used more often for writing the reasoning and the proofs in the basic geometric proofs. Reflexive property, symmetric, and transitive. Reflexive is just like mirroring, right? If I say A is equal to A or angle B is equal to angle B, right? They are the same thing. It is just, you can, if mirroring makes sense to you, then go for mirroring. Symmetric is if I change the order, then also they will remain the same. What does that mean? That means if A is equal to B, and if I just change their order from right to left, they will remain the same. Transitive property, on the other hand, it says if A is equal to B and B is further equal to C, then this implies that A is equal to C. So in this case, B is common between these two. Try to understand in the if and then statement. If A, then B. Now then B will become if statement for the second case, and it will be if B, then C. So B and B, they are common. I don't need them. So it is just like eliminating the middleman. Eliminate B, or if it makes sense, middleman. Right? So you will get A is equal to C. In any equation, when it shows this kind of transition, it is called transitive property. So it shows transition. Right? Now, based on these few things to consider while writing the proofs, let's try a few. We have this question, and they have given us this diagram. Inside this one rectangle, there is another rectangle, and they have labeled it in this way. Let's say, let's call it as, let's call this point between A and C as B, and between C and E as D. They have given us a little bit of the proof equation, which is my statements, equation, or I can say statements. And this is the reasoning part, right? First is always given. This is my first. It is always given. Okay. Now, if it is given, BC is equal to DC, BC is equal to DC. They have labeled it, right? 2 arcs, 2 arcs. Then AB is equal to AB, this is AB point, is equal to DE, 1 arc, right? DE. right? Or I can rephrase it because they are asking me in different format. So I can say ED. They implies the same thing. So AB will be equal to ED. Why I wrote ED? Because from A to B, from E to D, right? From the outer edge to the inner edge. In the second statement, this is statement 1. Second statement, they have mentioned AC is equal to AB plus BC. Okay, the whole entire AC, this part is nothing but a combination of this part and this part, AB and BC. So they wrote segment addition postulate. Wonderful. Step 3. In step 3, I need to fill something to make it more substantial. Reason is substitution property of equality, right? So that means they substituted something for the another. They have started AC. I have AC here. AB. Instead of AB, they wrote ED. AB and ED. Why? Because in the first statement, we said that AB is equal to ED. So instead of AB, they wrote ED. Now, BC, what I can substitute instead of BC? If we look at the first statement again, BC is equal to DC. So, I can say it is DC. Okay, I'm done with substitution property of equality. Let's say what is going on in step 4. ED plus DC is equal to EC. Okay, what is ED? ED is this part plus DC. And it makes sense because ED plus DC, it is forming the whole entire segment EC. That is why segment addition postulate again. Okay, now what is going on? Now they want us to write the final step. AC is equal to something that will show transitive property of equality. Okay. We have discussed about transitive property of equality. Transitive property of equality is just like eliminating the middleman. The same thing that is there in the two statements, I can take that out. So in this case, I can say AC is equal to EC. Why? Because in this statement, these two statements, ED plus DC and ED plus DC, they are common. These are my middlemen. I don't need them. And if you don't need them, I will get my final answer as EC. And that is what they are asking us. See, they want us to find out what is AC is equal to EC. So one step at a time and everything will be okay. Let's try one more time. Now, in this particular case, they are asking us, give the property that justifies each step. Okay, so we change the color for this. So we are starting with 5x plus 3 is equal to 415 minus x. From here to here, what they did, they opened the brackets. When we open the brackets, it is called distributive because we are distributing. Distributive property. Now from here to here, what happened? 5x plus 15 is equal to 60 minus 4x. Now they said 9x plus 15 is equal to 60. So they added 4x both sides. 4x, 4x. So it is addition. Addition, POE. What is POE? Property of equality. Right? Now from 9x plus 15 is equal to 60, we got 9x is equal to 45. How? They got rid of 15 by subtracting 15 both sides. that will give you a zero pair, and you will get 9x is equal to 45 because they are subtracting. So subtraction POE. And finally, they got x is equal to 5. How they got x is equal to 5? They had 9x is equal to 45. And when we have to find the value of x, I need to isolate variable, right? To isolate variable, I need to get rid of 9. And 9 is multiplied with x. What is the inverse of multiplication? Inverse of multiplication is dividing. So I can divide 9 both sides. If we do that, we will get x is equal to 5. So this is division PO. Wonderful. Let's try. Okay, now they are asking us to prove what property is shown. Okay, we have to identify what they are trying to prove in this case. First is always given. Okay, we are starting with a given statement. Then they changed, see, again, from congruent to equal to sign. Whenever there is a transition from a congruent sign to equal or equal to congruent, the reason will be definition of congruent. Definition of congruent segment. Okay, and then they said TU is equal to XY. Okay, let's look at carefully. TU is equal to VW and VW is equal to XY. VW is the middleman. Take the middleman out. Transitive property of equality. So my answer for this one is the proof they are showing is transitive property. Right? See? Transitive property. And again, they change from equality to congruent. And whenever we change, show a transition from equal to congruent or congruent to equal, the reason will be definition of congruent segments. Okay, let's do our final question. Now, this is kind of a messy if you look at one place and you will say, I don't know what properties they have used, but I can use the linear pair postulate rule. And linear pair postulate says, if the two angles are adjacent and they are forming supplementary, right? And they are equal to 180 degree. These are the properties of linear pair, right? So if they are linear pair, that means the total, the whole entire is 180 degree. Why? Because straight line is of 180 degree. Let's use that thing. So can I say 21x minus 10, and this red mark, let's label it as question mark, right? For simplicity's sake. Plus question mark should be equal to 180 degree because it's a straight line. Now again, another straight line is right here with 19x, right? Right here, 19x and this question mark. One was right here. Okay. So I will do the same drill. I can say 19x plus question mark is equal to 180 degree, right? Now, based on these two, both of them are equal to 180 degree. I can use substitution and I can write 21x minus 10 plus question mark is equal to 19x plus question mark. Why? Because both of them are equal to 180 degree. So I did substitution. Right? Now, look carefully here. 21x minus 10 plus question mark is equal to 19x plus question mark. Let's get rid of the question mark first. So minus question mark, minus question mark. Why question mark? Because let's not introduce another variable. Okay, so we are done with these two. What is our new equation? 21x minus 10 is equal to 19x. Now it's just a simple multi-step equation. I can solve it. What I can do? Let's